The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk in partnership with thechairshot.com, presented by the Hitting the Marks Podcast Network and in association with NJPW.com. Turnbuckle Talk is sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast. Turnbuckle Talk is also partnered with Phoenix at FNXFit.com, where you get 15% off all your health supplements simply by using promo code TBTalkPod. Follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TBTalkPod. Listen on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you catch your favorite programs. And now, pro wrestling fanatics, are you ready? Here are your hosts, Big Joe and Karufel.
Welcome, everybody. We are at episode 182 of Turnbuckle Talk. My name is Karl Karufel. The guy over there is Big Joe. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk. Joe, we are in prime time right now, brother. This is a little test for us to see how things go in prime time. I actually had to work today, so our normal 3 p.m. broadcast could not happen, but let's see how things go prime time when everybody's home sitting down for a meal. Big Joe, prime time, what have we got today?
So just a few more things on that. I mean, 182 episodes in, man. We're creeping ever closer to that 200 episode mark. I mean, wow, just looking back at the beginning, who thought we'd still be here? Almost 200 episodes in, and we're still going strong. As for the timing, the 3 p.m. just wasn't going to work for us this weekend. I got a little bit extra time to sleep in a little bit since I do work a night job. That was a welcome couple more hours of sleep. Even though looking at me on the video, you might think that, hey, Joe, you still need a little bit more sleep, and you might be correct. But I got a nice big cup of chocolate raspberry truffle Van Hoot coffee on the go, so all good with that. And for this primetime slot, man, it's we'll see if we can get some more viewers and they get some more interaction in our chat. So it's
Big Joe's got a big cup of Joe.
Big cup of Joe, and it is some excellent coffee. It's non-sponsored coffee, but it is still good nonetheless. But man, there's been quite a bit going on, and there's actually some interesting breaking news coming this week. But not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, let us start off with the PWI 500 has been released here, Karl, and we know who our number one is. And I got to say, surprised, but not surprised at the same time. And there definitely seems to be a mixed reaction from the internet wrestling community. And Mr. Jon Moxley has been voted as the number one for the year of 2019, I guess it would be, correct? Or no, I guess it would be 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah. Big milestone for Pro Wrestling Illustrated as well for their PWI 500. Their PWI 500 turns 30. Yep. So this is the 30th one that they have done. And on number 30, as Big Joe said, we have Jon Moxley, AEW champion. And as you can see in the graphic there, AEW has officially arrived. I guess if you're in the world of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, then sure. AEW has officially arrived. For myself, I believe that AEW has arrived already.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you could definitely make that argument. And just outside of AEW, with him leaving the WWE, showing up in New Japan, showing up in AEW, I mean, he's kind of been all over the place, still a tour of the independent scene as well. I really have no issue with him being in that number one spot. A lot of people feel that this is just another jab at WWE and whatnot. I don't feel that's really the case here at all. I honestly think that he kind of made the biggest impact on the industry.
I would have to agree with you. I think he definitely has made the biggest impact. I mean, what was the talk of 2020? Yeah. It was Dean Ambrose. Is he leaving? Is he staying? What's happening? And then all of a sudden he's gone, and it's like, oh, and then he shows up, and it's fanfare once again. Yep. So is Jon Moxley deserving of the number one spot right now for the PWI 500? I think so.
I definitely think so. I think he's well deserving of it. But I figured we'd go through, say, maybe even just the rest of the top 10 here as well. Here, Karl, I don't know if you have the list in front of you, but
I don't. I knew that you would, and I wanted this to be a total surprise to me. I have not even looked it up yet, so I have no clue.
So I actually have the top 25 in front of me, but I thought maybe we keep it to the top 10, or we can go further if you want. But to go further down the list, you know what? I'll go 10, and then I'll go back up to 1 here. So at number 10, awesome. At number 10 we have AJ Styles. At number 10, at number 9 Kofi Kingston. Number 8 Seth Rollins. Number 7 Cody Rhodes. Number 6 we have Kazuchika Okada from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then at number 5 we have Tetsuya Naito, also from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Number 4 we have Drew McIntyre. Number 3 Chris Jericho, and probably as a bit of a surprise here at number 2, Karl, we have Adam Cole, Bay at all the way up to number 2. What do you think about that number 2, man?
Number 2, I think, is totally deserving as well. Adam Cole has done a lot for the world of professional wrestling since the last PWI 500 has come out. Everything that he's been doing with the faction over in NXT has been phenomenal. Whether it's been up, whether it's been down, there's always been that constant of Adam Cole.
Yeah. I guess he would have been the longest reigning NXT champion. So, and I mean, his work speaks for itself. So, definitely, amongst, our inside of our bubble, for sure. I mean, he would definitely make that list. But for him to be all the way up at number 2, I thought that was a bit of a surprise. I would have Naito and Okada probably a notch higher. Like, I would have probably bumped Naito up to 4 and then Okada number 5. And I probably would have put, probably have switched Drew McIntyre and Adam Cole. I think I would have put Drew number 2, for winning that title at WrestleMania. After all that time, I felt that kind of maybe justified. One thing to keep in mind with this here too is that we have to always remind people, because there's always the uproar about this list here, Karl, that this really is in kayfabe, right? So it depends on what is going on storyline wise, and all that plays a large factor in this. So people reading a little too much into this, people get a little carried away. I've been guilty of this myself, especially when Ronda, when I was making the list up higher, I was like, no.
Right.
So
but I mean, that's why I mentioned everything that Adam Cole had done, and the reason why he's up at number 2 is for that reason, kayfabe reason. Everything that he's done with the Undisputed Era, as well as singles, and then just everything that's happened with Adam Cole has been fantastic. And like I said, Adam Cole has been a constant. So I can definitely see it.
I can definitely see it. And to give everybody else a little bit of idea, I'll go through the rest of the top 25 here.
Yeah, go from 11 down to 25.
Okay, so at number 11 we got Keith Lee. And then number 12, we got Brock Lesnar. So we got Keith Lee ahead of Brock Lesnar, which I think, given the current circumstances, definitely justified. At number 13, Kenny Omega, which is very interesting because since coming over to AEW, I will say that his prestige, I guess, in wrestling has been almost non-existent outside of New Japan. He just never really seemed to really translate over to American wrestling, but he's in there at number 13. Number 14, we got Roman Reigns. Number 15, Nick Aldis. Number 16, Mr. Bray Wyatt. Then we have Kota Ibushi all the way down to number 17. That's a bit of a shocker. Number 18, Rush. Number 19, Braun Strowman. And at number 20 is our kind of first outside of the big companies here, Karl. We got Jacob Fatu in that spot there at number 20. Then we have Mr. Will MLW. Yep. And then we have Will Ospreay at number 21. MJF all the way down to number 22. He's probably not too happy about that one. Aleister Black at number 23. And then number 24, a name I'm not really that familiar with, Kento Miyahara. I'm not sure who that is. I'll have to maybe do some research on him. And then rounding out the top 25, we have Walter. That is the top 25. So an interesting mix there. A lot of WWE and AEW New Japan, which makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's a good mix of stars from all the companies. And then Jacob Fatu in there to include somebody from MLW in the top 25.
Yep.
Fantastic. I love to see that. Because the independent scene when it comes to professional wrestling is so fantastic that it gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah,
it really does, which sucks because there's a lot of really good workers out there on the independent scenes.
And MLW, I believe that coming up in either October or November, they're headed towards network television. So that'll be good. And hopefully there'll be a way for us to watch that up here in Canada. Because MLW does put out a good product. And there's definitely some good talent over there. All right, man, let's shift over to some New Japan Pro Wrestling here. And they did a really interesting show here on the 31st here, Karl, at a baseball stadium in Tokyo.
Yes, they did.
This was pretty cool.
Really, really wild, really crazy that's happened. But yeah, I mean, fantastic. Let me grab our graphics here.
Yep.
For some reason, they're not moving on me. There we go. Finally, it decided to move.
Yep. There we go. We got
Pleasures of live. Wow. Here we go.
So there we go. Yep. So this was the wrap of the Summer Struggle Tour here, and just a brief breakdown of the card here. We had Kanemaru defeating Master Wato in the opening match. For those of you who are not in the know with the New Japan Pro Wrestling, Master Wato, I would liken him to kind of the John Cena-ish type character that they have over there, with definitely a Japanese twist on it. And then we had probably one of the wackiest things that I've seen in I would say 2020 has already been wacky, just in the world, but in the world of professional wrestling. But Karl, the result of this match here, definitely very wacky. All right, man. So we had El Desperado, Sonata, and Okada, and Toru Yano in the final for this King of Pro Wrestling deal here. And can you take a wild guess of who won this match?
It's gonna be a crazy one. Was it Yano?
It was Yano. Getting the school. First of all, got the low blow in, and then the roll up pin. Visibly, just in this here, Karl. I mean, Sonata especially. I mean, this guy's got to be warning. Like, what the hell? Like, did I do something wrong at some point to somebody higher up in this company? This guy just keeps getting crapped on here, Karl. I mean, what does this guy have to do to climb up further in the card? I mean, he's got all the talent in the world, and he's got the look. And from what I've been told, even I talked to our friend Mr. Michael Jargo, it seems like not being in this, this young lion system really kind of seems to go against some of these guys. And as good as this company is, it seems like they unnecessarily kind of hold this against some of the talent. That's one of my burning issues with New Japan Pro Wrestling, is that these outsiders, they tend to kind of treat them not with the most respect that maybe they deserve.
So now you understand my feelings when they keep doing stuff like this to chase Owens.
Yeah, no, I get it. So some of the other matches that we had here, I'm going to leave... Well, I'll just briefly mention this one, but we had Minoru Suzuki versus Shingo Takagi in an absolutely fantastic match. I'm going to save that one for later. I'm not going to say exactly why, although people can probably read between the lines on that one. I'm going to save that one for later. Then we had Ishimori defeating Hiromu Takahashi for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That was definitely a surprise. And we had Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi. And then in the main event for the evening for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, we had Tetsuya Naito defeating Evil for those two titles. They did split them up like a lot of us were kind of hoping for here, Karl. And I feel that maybe they should have at least vacated that Intercontinental title. I just don't know doing this long term if that's a great idea or not, keeping them both together.
Yeah, I really don't know either. I don't think that it really is going to be a very good idea for them to do so. There's so much talent that is available in New Japan Pro Wrestling that why not allow someone else to be able to hold that Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah, so we'll see what they decide. Hopefully they will kind of make a bit of a shift there. But some good stuff at this Jingu Stadium in Tokyo. An outdoor venue. The weather cooperated, which was good, but it had a cool feel to it. And we had people in the audience too, which New Japan has been doing for a little while now. So it just felt like a good traditional outdoor wrestling show. Then there was some cool stuff that happened, some questionable stuff, to say the least. But yeah, and
as you guys can see,
it's a good solid show.
This is a photo from that night.
Yep.
And it's a baseball diamond is what this is. That's they did it at a baseball field.
Yep.
Fans in the stands as well as fans down ringside. So it was very cool to see. And I mean, it's something that's been done before. It definitely has, but it was just so nice to be able to see it once again happening, and especially during 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to correct myself, I said that happened on the 31st. It actually happened on the 29th. The last time I could kind of think of a show happening at a baseball stadium, I think Global Force Wrestling, around the time that we talked to Jeff Jarrett on the podcast, was the last time they tried to pull something off like that. And I remember they didn't get much of an audience there, unfortunately. Well,
I mean, they were still young, right?
Yeah.
So
that was a promotion that I think had a lot of potential. That's something we could probably get into a side topic at some point on an episode coming down of what happened with Global Force Wrestling, of what happened to those guys, because they just seemed to go off into oblivion there, which was kind of unfortunate, actually.
Yeah.
But let's shift over to some WWE discussion here, Karl. And this is something that kind of flew under the radar for a little while, and we just caught wind of it lately. And we're talking surrounding the entrance music for a lot of the talent in WWE. And this kind of came out when Keith Lee made his debut over the main roster, and people essentially went, "What was that?"
Right? So for those of you who don't know, for the longest time, there was a group or a production people, two guys, collaborative together called CFO.
Yeah.
And they were doing the entrance music for all of the stars, essentially. And it seems as though, like Big Joe said, kind of under the radar, they've disbanded. So the two of them are no longer working together.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of going, what's going to happen with these theme songs that have already been produced and are being used?
Yep.
Are we going to have to change those, or
Probably.
is CFO going to allow them to stay?
Yeah, that's an interesting discussion, and a little bit more on these guys. The guys that were involved in this, their names are John Paul Ali Castro and Michael Conrad Laurie were the names of the two guys. They're from New York. And yeah, I mean, basically every WWE theme that you can think of from 2012 until now, they've done their entrances for it. And so you got to think a lot of the marquee ones now, they're going to have to start, it's probably going to be a bit of a slow process, but they're going to have to start phasing out these old entrance themes. And I'm really curious of who they're going to be using. Because like I said, the first one didn't go over well. I still haven't heard it myself because I didn't, I try not to watch WWE Weekly Television. I frankly don't have time for it a lot of the times, but I tend to watch the clips, but I haven't seen that entrance yet. I'm actually curious to see what it sounds like, to hear what all the hoopla is about, because apparently it was pretty resoundingly bad with everybody.
Yeah, and on top of that, I just want to throw out there that people are upset that Keith Lee is wearing a shirt now. So they made him shirt up and changed his theme music. In today's society, you can't do that's way too much for people to handle all at once.
Oh, yeah.
Come on now. Come on now.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
we'll see.
Honestly, he's got a shirt on. What does it matter? Honestly, his theme music changed coming from NXT up to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
What does it matter? Just go with it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. I'm curious to hear what the actual music was, because like I said, apparently it was pretty bad. So if it's that bad, I can definitely see why people are digging it. And especially with a guy that's got so much momentum, that something like this could derail it, Karl, unfortunately.
But is it that bad, or is it just not what people are used to?
You know what? Let me see if I can actually find it, right?
All right.
Because I'm really curious now. I wonder if I can make the audio come through. So we're talking Keith Lee... New theme. Now let's see if I can make it come through here.
And And let's see if it actually says who produced it as well, because that's something to go along with this whole topic of CFO disbanding.
Yeah.
So
let me see if I can get this to come through here.
Wrestling. We've been hearing the buzz all day long, but is this? It is! Keith Lee is here! Prepare to bask in his glory! The man with no limits! Keith Lee!
I mean,
Show a 340-pounder with a
this really isn't...
it's a little heavier than what he had going, but I didn't think it was bad by any means. A bit of a shift there, but I mean... Just from what I heard, I really don't have much of a problem with it.
No, I really don't either.
Yeah. It kind of combined a little bit of the original one, and then it kind of like it faded into this new one, which I kind of digged it actually. Just saying. I know there's a lot of hate out there for this, but I don't get it.
Well, again, I as I said, I think it comes down to it's not what people are used to, and people don't like change. So you change something, people are going to be in an uproar about it, and I think that's honestly all that this is. These people that are upset about it are just in an uproar because it's different and they don't like change.
Yeah,
Get over it.
You know what we're seeing again here, Karl, is this interesting trend of people being addicted to being outraged. We're seeing this crop, and this isn't the only place where this is happening. And as you can see, Karl drinking out of his Turnbuckle Talk coffee cup there.
That's right.
All right, man. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this entrance music. I imagine that they'll find somebody good to fill this. And I mean, if that one was their first one, I thought they did okay there.
Yeah, I mean, if this is going to be the people that are doing it now, I'm okay with that. That was good in my books. I have no problem with that at all. Definitely, it'll be very interesting to see, though. Like I said, if they're going to have to change kind of everybody's music, and if they do. Wow, look out. We're going to have huge uproar over that.
Well, for sure.
I am not going to be very happy.
It'll give us stuff to talk about. It'll give us stuff to talk about for sure.
I won't be happy. I'll be fine if they change music. But all the people complaining out there about it.
Yes.
It's just theme music. Get over it. I know it's something that you associate with that person.
Right.
But how many times has theme music changed for other people? How many, like John Cena, he went through theme music change.
Yeah. But
right? Who cares? It's just theme music.
But let's say let's delve more into this topic. Let's go back and let's say if Stone Cold Steve Austin, if they would have changed his music during the Attitude Era, if they would have changed it, that probably wouldn't have gone over too well. Just as one example.
It probably wouldn't, because he was... Okay, we have to keep in mind that Keith Lee was coming from NXT up to the main roster.
That's why I'm okay with that situation, yeah.
That's right, because a lot of the people that watch the main roster stuff only watch it on their television. They're not subscribed to the WWE Network. Therefore, they don't get to see NXT all the time.
No.
If they're not watching NXT... they don't know that theme music.
Yep.
You bring them up to the main roster and change their theme music. This is all new for those other people. Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. So, yep. Like I said, they're just, there's a handful of them out there that, I wouldn't have wanted to mess with, especially my favorite of all time. Like if they would have messed too much with Piper's theme music, I would have been pissed. All right. I would have been pissed. Hulk Hogan and the rest of them, I really don't care. But if they would have messed with Piper's bagpipe intro, I would not have been happy.
And I totally get that. But again, we're going back to this is a totally different time, different situations, right? That's what it is.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's shift over to some other WWE discussion here, and let's talk some NXT. This seems to kind of be a reoccurring thing that happens here. We have somebody winning a title and then having to relinquish it here. Karl, this is kind of disappointing because we've had Karrion Kross win the NXT World Championship, and I believe it was a shoulder injury, and he had to relinquish it. But at least, Karl, they did it in a really cool way, and I got to give them props for this. I'm going to give WWE props. They did it in a very cool way. I'm relinquishing this title, but that doesn't mean I'm forgetting about things here. He's like, tick-tock, tick-tock. I'm coming back for this once I'm back. I mean, I thought they did a great job with this. More of this kind of stuff, please.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I'm definitely okay with what's happened. As you guys can see on the graphic on the screen there is Karrion Kross with Scarlett holding up that NXT championship with pride. Very much so. The look on Scarlett's face there, I mean, just says it all. She is elated, just as Karrion Kross is, and it was just so fantastic to see. I mean, I was super happy with Karrion Kross winning that, but then, as you said, kind of coming to, like almost the next night, or a couple nights later, and then we're having to see this.
Yep. But like I said, they did, and visually it looks very, very cool.
Yes.
The hourglass, we're ticking down. I'm coming back for this thing once I'm good to go. And I'm paraphrasing there, but I thought that they did an excellent job there. And this is the kind of stuff I want to see more of from WWE. And then this will rekindle my interest in what's going on here. More of this kind of stuff. We don't need more people getting injured, but we need we need more clever storytelling like this. And this was obviously probably done on the fly here. And it seems like in these kind of situations, they almost kind of do better when they're going on the fly, Karl. Gotta say.
Yeah.
So
100% you're right.
This is an example of why you don't need to rigidly script things so much. When you can do things like this.
Just kind of let things flow.
Yes. No, I definitely agree. And just briefly, if you want to bring the picture of the two of them back up here, Karl, I want to talk briefly on the second person here. We talked about Mr. Karrion Kross, and you hinted at Scarlett there. Is she pretty much not an in-ring talent anymore here, Karl? Is she just going to be the valet?
I think as for right now, she's just going to be the valet.
Yeah, or is it a slow burn?
Definitely, I can see that changing, and I really hope it does, because I'm not opposed to her working in the ring.
Yeah.
From what I've seen from her before, I mean, sure, she, like everybody, there's a little bit of mishap here and there, definitely, but she can work in that ring, and I am totally fine with seeing her in the ring. Yeah,
there's a lot of matches with her you can find on YouTube. She's worked quite a bit of independent stuff, Wrestle Circus and all that kind of stuff. You can go and check it all out. And I mean, she's not, knocking it out of the park out there, but I mean, she can hold her on. I just hope that if it is a slow burn to her actually getting back into the ring and actually working, that she's still training, to keep the ring rust off, because, she's been out of the ring for a little while now. So hopefully, she's still doing that aspect of it so that it won't be bad when she does go back.
Well, I don't want to say I guarantee it, but I can almost guarantee that yes, she is.
Good.
NXT, when you're down there, there's very rigid schedules that you're on. You're in there training. If you're not doing the show, you're in there training.
Yeah.
And whether that's working as a valet, whether that's working as an in-ring competitor, either or, you're in there, you're doing your training. You still have to keep your cardio. You still have to do your workouts. You still have to do all of that. Yeah. And part of that is getting inside of that ring and doing drills. So if you're in that ring doing drills, you're still gonna get good, and you're gonna keep that ring rust off of you from doing those drills, whether it's running ropes, whether it's leapfrogs, whether it's somersaults, all of that different stuff. And then I'm sure Scarlett's not from what I understand, she's not the type of girl that's going to be like, I'm better than you, get away from me type of thing. She's one of those people that's really in it for the business and has that drive and really wants to do this. And I'm sure that she's gone to other female talent and said, hey, let's get in there. Let's do something. Right. And I'm really hoping that she has. I hope so too. As long as that keeps up, everything should be fine.
Because one of the biggest things when she came over, Karl, was as we know, from Impact and when they were really going for the smoke show type of gimmick where it was really over sexualizing her and her character. When I heard that she was coming over to WWE, I was immediately afraid here, Karl, and I think you can probably already kind of get a hint as to why, is that I don't want to see us start to trickle back over to the diva era again, because that would be such a step back, not only just for WWE, but for women's wrestling in general. And I just hope that if she gets into that they don't go that angle or try to incorporate too much of that in there. Maybe a little bit okay, but it's kind of treading on dangerous territory there, to say the least. I don't want to see them get back to the pillow fight and cake matches again.
Not needed.
We don't need to.
No.
We can go back. We can go back and watch the archives if we need to.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so
exactly. Anybody that subscribes to the WWE Network in Canada for $15, you got all of that available for you to go back and watch. So.
For sure, and some of that can be entertaining for what it is, but we don't need to see any of our new talent doing this here, Karl.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, before we do our breaking news segment, we're about halfway through here, Karl. Why don't we take a bit of a break here and hear from our friends over at Collar and Elbow? I'll hit the commercial here.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Being a hero in life is far more than words printed on a page. It takes an unwavering code, a compass that points true north, always. And in times like these, it takes sacrifice. Hero shouldn't be a word defined by a dictionary. It's a word that should be defined by the best of us. Hero has a new definition.
So there you go, a little word from collarandelbowbrand.com where you can get 10% off when you use promo code JKPodcast at the checkout for all your purchases there. So I'm interested to see coming up into the fall season what they're going to have for merch over there, because I'm due for some new Collar and Elbow gear. I haven't got anything in quite a while.
I definitely am as well. I will very much so be happy when the fall stuff comes out and I can take a look and see what there is. I'm very interested to see. They always put out some really great stuff. I'm wearing my heather gray, mirror tee right now, as well as the hat. I've always got the hat on.
Absolutely.
And it'll be very cool to see what they come out with.
There we go. All right. Well, let's do a little breaking news here, Karl. All right, so for breaking news this week, the main one that stuck out to me in my weekly rummaging of the dirt sheets and all the wrestling websites, our friends over at thechairshot.com, NJPW, all this kind of stuff. The big thing that stood out to me, and it's happened actually just in the last today, I believe, maybe a little bit before that. Probably one of the biggest names in the professional wrestling business is a free agent here, Karl. We're talking Mr. Brock Lesnar. Wow. It looks like they haven't managed a deal with WWE yet.
They have not managed a deal, as well as they have gone as far as removing Brock Lesnar from things, whether it's stuff on the network, whether it's he has no more profile on WWE.com, as well as the shop. There is no merchandise for Brock Lesnar. There is that you can still see Brock Lesnar merchandise. You click on it and it goes, oops, this page is no longer available.
Whoops, our bad.
Right?
What do you think, man? What's next for Brock Lesnar? Retirement, or is he going to go back into the MMA game, or is he going to venture elsewhere in professional wrestling? What do you think?
I don't know. You know what? I think it would be really cool to see him go back into MMA and do some more MMA stuff.
Yeah.
I would be totally fine with that. Going through and, maybe going to another company, I don't think is really a great option for him. I really don't think so. he doesn't need to go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he does, he's just going to be known as that WWE guy. And why subject yourself to that? I mean, just go back and do some MMA. That's it. And then wait for another 4 or 5 years, and the WWE will come calling again, as they always do, and be like, hey, Brock, we need you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what'll happen.
What I think is going to happen here, when it comes to, I'll go through all the different options here. With MMA, what I could see happening is one of the previous times that we saw Brock cross over into UFC, we saw the diverticulitis incident, right? When it comes to training for UFC, it was a lot different from training to be a professional wrestler. We saw a lot of negative health side effects for Mr. Brock Lesnar, and I fear that that's something that could reoccur again if he wanted to go down that path. So given that, I think that may not be an option for him. And when it comes to WWE, right now it definitely seems to be up in the air. They can't agree on the money, but I think that always be an option. So that's why I feel that him going somewhere else, and I think specifically somewhere that he's been before, I'm talking New Japan Pro Wrestling here, Karl, and I think that especially if we can time this to when we start getting more, or to where they can get more people into the arenas and in the venues, having him as a draw for a New Japan Pro Wrestling show is going to bring in a lot of people. And I think that would be, if I was his agent, that's where I would be having my sights set. New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then that way, just like they did before with him, that have it be a short-term deal, and then he can go back to WWE if he so chooses.
All right. I totally hear what you're saying, but I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
You said earlier in the broadcast that the outsiders, the ones that haven't gone through the Young Lions, seem to be really not shunned, but kind of pushed off to the wayside.
But not always.
Not always. You're right.
Always.
Now, do you think that having a Brock Lesnar come in there is really going to be a good morale boost, especially for those that are not part of the Young Lions club that are getting showcased? Do you think that it's really going to be a good idea to bring in Brock Lesnar and make him now your official top or semi-top guy when all these other people are going to be there going, what about me? I'm here. Do I mean nothing to you?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying as well. But I think you can have the best of both worlds there. Arguably, if you can book things properly. I mean, look when Chris Jericho came over, a lot of people weren't expecting that, and they were able to make that work. They were able to basically do co-main events there, and they drew a lot of people. They drew a lot of money there. So I think that they could find a way to make it work. It would just depend on who you would match up Brock with. Would be the key there. I mean, obviously you can't, Hiromu Takahashi and these kind of guys, obviously Kota Ibushi, those aren't the guys that you want to, or Sonata, you don't want to put him up against those guys. You want to put him in with guys like Shingo and Tanahashi and those kind of guys. Those are the kind of guys that you want to put Brock up against. Those big marquee names that aren't going to be hurt by a loss to a guy like Brock Lesnar. Whereas these up and coming guys, you leave them Brock Lesnar free. Right, so I think that would be the way to go about that if you want to make that work. And it would be Brock on excursion, and then once that short-term deal comes up, then WWE can come knocking again. That's how I see it happening. I
mean, I like I said, I totally see where you're coming from and what you're doing and where you're going with all of that, but I don't know. I think this might actually be just another way for Brock to get back into MMA now.
Could be,
but that's about it. Go and make a couple million doing a few fights just to sustain himself again, right? And then wait for Vince to come and call in.
Yeah, because I think he'll always kind of be welcome in the WWE. He's been one of their biggest draws for a long time. And this is one of those things, too. It's that there's been a lot of outrage on Facebook and stuff about this. So people are like, oh, that's good that he's gone. He never made them any money anyways. I went, really? Brock Lesnar never made them any money? Like, I would say probably for like the last 10 years, he's been like their main draw. So people just hating on Brock Lesnar. Guess what, guys? He's a heel most of the time, and you're supposed to hate him.
Exactly.
So
I've always been a fan of Brock Lesnar.
Yep, and we've seen a little interesting side effect of this situation here, Karl, which we'll get into in our Showstopper segment. But first, before we do that,
Well, no, hold on a second.
You have some breaking
You want
news?
to talk about breaking news? I have breaking news.
Karl has breaking news. What you got?
So this is probably about 45 minutes ago that this came out here. New Japan Pro stars stripped of their championships.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes. So we are talking here. Roppongi 3K have been IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions since Wrestle Kingdom 14.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been forced to relinquish their titles.
Wait a second. Let me go back here. Okay, the junior tag team championships. Okay.
Yes, the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships.
Okay.
Yep.
What was the situation?
Yo has not wrestled since June 23rd. He was injured during his match with Ibushi.
Yeah.
They were competing in the first round of the New Japan Cup. Okay.
Right.
So yesterday, the team officially gave up the belts. Now, a tournament has been announced to crown the new champions.
Here we go.
4 teams will compete to become the new champs. I hope I don't butcher these, but I'm going to go through the names here for you.
Give it a shot.
The teams are Hiromu Takahashi,
Yes.
and Bushi,
Yes.
El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru,
I had a hard time with that one the first time too.
Master Wato,
Wato.
and Raisuke Taguchi. Yeah, okay.
Close. Ryusuke Taguchi. Yeah.
And Tajiri Ishimori, and is it Gato?
Gato. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those 4 teams are going to compete in a round robin tournament starting September 5th. The tournament will operate like other New Japan tournaments, the winning teams earning points. The 2 teams with the most points will wrestle in the finals on September 11th in Korakuen Hall.
Nice. Korakuen Hall. Nice venue.
So,
yeah. Nice little intimate venue for professional wrestling.
So, interesting point, of the 4 teams, El Desperado and Kanemaru are the only ones to have been champions together.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a good opportunity to put the title back on.
That's my breaking news.
It'd be a good chance to put the titles back on those guys. Despy and Kanemaru, those guys are awesome. They've been doing a good job, especially coming out of the lockdown and whatnot. So, I think that's about it for breaking news. I just checked a couple of my sources, and there's some other stuff here, but nothing too crazy that is worth bringing up, honestly. Let us do our Match of the Week segment. Here we go. All right, man. Match of the Week segment. What do you got for this past week? What was your favorite match that you were able to catch, if you had the chance?
You want me to go first again?
Yes, you go first again.
Main event, baby. Main event of Summer Struggle.
Yours is coming from New Japan.
I hope that yours wasn't that one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? It was just, even though it was like 39, 38 minutes, something like that.
It was a bit long, yeah.
Yeah, it was long, but it didn't feel as though it was long.
Mm-hmm.
It was just all around. Everything was just good. And it's just another classic New Japan Pro Wrestling throwing out there that they can do what anyone else can do and do it just that much better. I was just super happy with everything coming out of that. I mean, out of the entire Summer Struggle that happened, I mean, yeah, it was just fantastic, and I'm happy with everything that New Japan's putting down right now. So
yeah, it definitely feels like, coming out of COVID-19. I mean, we're still dealing with it, but I think we've mentioned this before, that they've been the company that has probably handled it the best. Ring of Honor has also done very well, being able to keep their talent down, but their operation is relatively small. But for New Japan to not only keep their audience and their talent around, so it's quite a bit. We're starting to see stuff happening over in the U.S. with the New Japan America for the people, for the guys who can't make it over. It's looking pretty good there. And I was a little concerned with the Summer Struggle Tour, just because they were doing so many shows, is that they were going to have a lot of repetition, and there was some to a certain extent, but they still managed to put out some good shows, and this was a really nice way to wrap it up in an outdoor venue. And interestingly enough here, Karl, my match of the week...
I want to correct myself here quickly.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, 26 minutes.
26 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, not 30. It was 26 minutes.
There you go. Still a bit of a long match, but it typically doesn't quite feel that long. For my match of the week, it's actually coming from New Japan. It's also coming from this show as well here, Karl. And the reason why I skipped this match earlier in the show is because of this, because this was my match of the week. The match for the Never Open Weight Championship between Minoru Suzuki and Shingo Takagi. Like I had mentioned, when it comes to Shingo, typically when he is on a show like this, he's always going to be a contender for match of the week for me. This guy has come out of the junior heavyweight division, believe it or not, to be one of the more convincing heavyweights going on. And he had an opportunity to go up against Minoru Suzuki here. And I mean, my God here, man. I mean, this is just a great back and forth, a slobber knocker to say the least. Let me just make sure I'm getting his age right. At 52 years old, Minoru Suzuki is still one of the smoothest operators in that ring. Just when you watch him transition between moves and submissions and grappling moves, I mean, my God, the guy looks better than a lot of younger guys out there still at his age, and he's absolutely fantastic. And this was a match that it actually felt a little bit longer than it actually was, but it went just shy of 15 minutes, but it felt a little bit longer than that, but not in a bad way. And Minoru Suzuki ended up getting the win over Shingo there. But I was okay with the loss. Shingo still looked really, really good in there. Instead, I mean, toe-to-toe with one of the best in the business. I mean, Minoru Suzuki, I know for a lot of fans who are just in the WWE bubble aren't really aware of Minoru Suzuki, but should be. You should be. I mean, this guy is just old school heel to the core. And I mean, and outside of professional wrestling, this guy has just a tremendous amount of influenced a lot of the early development of MMA, believe it or not. And I mean, just the guy is just fantastic. You know, we affectionately refer to him as Murder Grandpa because he is usually the oldest guy in the ring. And like I had said, you know, he moves like a young guy. It's absolutely fantastic at his age. I don't know what it is, Karl, with these older Japanese guys, but they keep themselves in good shape. Probably because they're not, they're not dealing with all the junk. You know, they're not into drugs and alcohol and that kind of stuff. These guys eat care of each other clearly, and it shows. You know, guys like. Jushin Thunder Liger. I mean, for him to go as long as he did, I mean, when you take care of yourself, you can have some longevity in this business. So a good tip for some younger wrestlers: if you take care of yourself, you can have a long career.
That's right.
All right, so yeah, both of our match of the week coming from the same show. We didn't pick the same match, but
nope.
But it could have been close because yours was definitely a contender for me as well. So we almost had the same pick, but this one, you know, Shingo kind of put it a little bit over the top for me. Again,
it always does for you. Always.
If you have a chance to watch any of his matches, I mean, they never disappoint, Karl. I gotta say they never disappoint with him. So some good stuff there. All right, man. Let's take another bit of a brief break here, and we're going to come back with our Showstopper segment. And I will let, since you put a lot of these here together, Karl, I'll let you pick our last break segment for this episode.
Oh, the break segment. Let's take a look here. Let's go.
Hi, my name's Barry Ratcliffe. You might recognize me from such films as The Longest Ride or Dead 2. Now, as a successful actor, I have 2 planes, a supermodel wife, countless exotic cars, and a ton of cash. You might think it couldn't get any better than this, but you'd be wrong. For only $4.99, you could get OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. That's OVWWrestlingNetwork.com for only $4.99. Now, will your life be as good as this? No. Will it be better? Yes, and I guarantee that. That's not valid anywhere. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99. Tomorrow's yesterday is today. Prices so low, they're insane. Want more bang for your buck? Well, so do I. At OVWWrestlingNetwork.com, it's only $4.99 a month. In between excitement, me too. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99 a month. You get that incredible value. She cost me $17 million, and I loved it. Want a real value? OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. It's only $4.99. That's a price so low. Well, it's insane.
I love that commercial just because it's done.
I do too.
It's done in that old school salesman type of technique. Like you think like Crazy Eddie's and all these kind of mind you, that was a completely corrupt company that ended up crumbling down to the ground. But just an over the top kind of presentation, and I mean, and the price is excellent for what you're getting for OVW's. Like I said, you're seeing the future today, and absolutely fantastic. And looking for, I might actually consider subscribing to that because it's an excellent product. And
$5 a month. $5 American. Yeah. Okay, so if you're in Canada,
it's like 15 Canadian
dollars. Whatever.
The exchange rate isn't all that great for us here, but some good stuff there to say the least. All right, man, let us do our Showstopper segment. All right, Showstopper segment for this week. As we had mentioned, Brock Lesnar is now a free agent and is no longer with the WWE, seemingly. We'll see for how long. But having said that here, Karl, this has freed things up for a certain Paul Heyman. And involving, strangely enough, somebody that we have railed on probably more than anybody else on this program. I mean, there is some competition out there, needless to say, but the big dog is back here, Karl. We're talking Mr. Roman Reigns coming back at SummerSlam and then taking the Universal title back at Payback out of nowhere. And wow, I got to say here, Karl, and this is kind of the Showstopper segment topic here, it looks like we might finally be doing the right thing with Roman Reigns here in WWE, but is this too little too late for Mr. Roman Reigns?
You know what? I don't think that it is. I think that he's been gone long enough that him coming back like this and bringing this attitude with him, bringing the big dog, bad guy type of thing to the people right now is kind of what people have wanted. Mm-hmm. And now the WWE finally has listened and given us what we want and even put him with Paul Heyman.
Right.
I was sitting there talking with my wife, and she was, I was telling her, like, Paul Heyman is working with Roman Reigns now, and she's like, he's going to the top.
Yep.
That was her words. She says he's going to the top.
Yep.
Anybody that works with Paul Heyman, they're going to the top.
Yep.
So even her, who is a casual wrestling fan, knows and understands that if Paul Heyman is on your side, you're going to the top.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Time. I love this whole wreck everyone and leave.
Yep.
I love it. Love it.
No.
It's like Stone Cold, one of your favorites, raise hell and leave.
For sure.
Right? Same thing. They're rehashing. They definitely are with stuff like this, but they put their own twist on it. I'm happy. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm happy with Roman Reigns right now.
So,
Joe, what are your thoughts?
A couple things on this, and since you're playing on the positive side, I'll kind of play devil's advocate, just a little bit here. One thing that I will say, when we're looking at, we're still doing this Thunderdome concept here. Now, as this moment is happening, as Mr. Roman Reigns is coming out at SummerSlam, we're seeing, just like we have us here, we have the well, in their case, the non-talking heads. We just have people moving and kind of reacting. We saw a lot of people when Roman was coming out, a lot of people going on camera going like this. And again, you had mentioned, WWE finally gave us what we want, but of course, people still aren't going to be happy regardless. So I will say that the reaction seems to be mixed among the audience. I've always said that I've wanted Roman pushed as a heel because I felt that just his persona, his presence was better suited to that than forcing him as a good guy. Like they did this whole thing, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm just the guy. That never made any sense to me and it never worked. But having him be the bad guy now, I think can definitely work. My only concern here, Karl, is that it does feel a little bit like since we don't have Brock, we've just inserted Roman into this role. Do you get any of that kind of sense that since we don't have Brock, that we had to put somebody in there, and why not Roman Reigns, right?
I don't feel that. No, I really don't. I can definitely see where you're coming from and what you're saying, but I don't feel that. I feel that this is just a rejuvenation for Roman Reigns and just a step forward for everything when it comes to Roman Reigns. Like, I mean, this is something that's been on that back burner for a while, right? are we ever going to get that John Cena heel turn? Well, we saw him in video kind of turn his heel once, and that was about it.
Yep.
Right. But we've been looking forward to Roman Reigns kind of breaking away from this whole like maybe Shield thing that he still has hovering over top of him. And now he's branched out. He's his own person now. Just like Seth Rollins, just like now Jon Moxley. They're their own people. We finally are going to get, with the help of Paul Heyman, our own Roman Reigns.
Yep, it's interesting. I'm glad that he's not wearing the riot gear anymore, the vest one. That was something that always kind of ticked me off. I got it in the Shield, but then afterwards he kept rocking it, and I didn't really understand why. This whole situation here, Karl, I don't know exactly how to feel. I like that they're at least attempting this, but I'm just wondering if the better time might have been when we actually have physical people back in the arena again. I know that we technically have it with the Thunderdome situation going on there, but I do have to give them props. At least they're trying something, and I just hope that what they do is going to be good. They've had to kind of, I think on the fly here a little bit with Brock and his contract status. So I'm thinking, like I'd mentioned earlier, that when they do things on the fly, sometimes it seemingly seems to be better. So I'm hoping that that's the case here, that they're doing something kind of off the cuff and having to improvise, and hopefully it'll be good. That's all I want here, is just don't just make him a bad guy, make him the top heel in the company, and have him just go out and just kind of be that person, and just like unapologetically be that person, be that strong alpha male. Don't be somebody who's going to cave in occasionally and blah, blah, blah. And whatnot. Just have him go be that dominant alpha male and push that envelope. And since we're seemingly going past the PG-13, push that envelope if you can, and do some risque stuff. And then I can kind of dig it, and I can feel what they're putting out.
So now I want to get your thoughts on this, Joe. Okay, so we've had Braun Strowman with that championship for a while now, and I have been okay with it. Yeah. And then we have him now. It seems like it was only, maybe 3 weeks ago that they started this feud between Braun Strowman and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. And now it's almost seems that it's done and over with, because Roman Reigns is back, and Roman Reigns is now the Universal Champion. Yeah. Do you feel that this was a good move to put the Universal Championship onto Roman Reigns, or should they have kept it on Braun Strowman to pull that feud out a little further with Bray Wyatt?
I think to get the maximum impact for this return, I think that they did the right move. Having said that, for those of you who have been paying attention to news kind of going out there, we technically could have done this as breaking news if we wanted to. It's come out that Braun was feeling really negative to the point where he was having some suicidal thoughts, and that Vince was actually the one to kind of help him, talk him through the situation to kind of make him feel better. And then this happened here, Karl. That this feels like, then we've reverted back again. I mean, this has got to be a big downer for him, and the timing of it isn't great. Like I said, just his psyche right now, he said that he was down pretty deep there, and Vince, strangely enough, being the one to kind of dig him out of it, only then to bury his ass again, and but I mean, I think you still had to go this route to maximize this return. I think you had to. And I don't think that, and then Braun is just a casualty in this whole deal, but I think that whoever was going to be the champion at that time was going to lose to Roman coming back. I mean, I think that's just the way you had to do it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, everybody knows that I have not been a big fan of Roman Reigns.
No.
I am a fan of Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Since the very beginning, when he first started, I've been a fan of Braun Strowman. So I'm a little upset. Yes, don't get me wrong. Like it's a seriously type of, they said they took the championship off of Braun Strowman, but I hope that maybe they continue to allow Braun now, have a rematch against, and maybe develop something, with that, with Roman Reigns now and Braun Strowman. But then we still have this whole third wheel of the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and where he's going to kind of come into all of this as well. Yeah. And I mean, who knows? Maybe this was something for, like you said, for Braun's psyche. Maybe this is something that the pressures of being the champ were actually kind of weighing on him a little bit, and maybe he needs a little bit of time to be able to take off, and this might be an opportunity for that to happen. I don't know, but yeah.
See, I was thinking more of it having a negative effect on his psyche because they're taking the championship off him again. Right, I was looking at a bit of a different way there. And this brings up possibly a whole other topic here, Karl. This could even be a showstopper segment in itself, honestly, of some people just taking this stuff maybe a little too seriously, because they're losing and maybe they're not the champion. Is Braun possibly one of those people that just gets too emotionally invested in kind of what's going on? That's something that we could take on as a whole topic itself, and with the Fiend. I mean, now with Rowan being the top heel in the company, I mean, you can't have two top bad guys really at the same time. It just doesn't really work historically. And
Exactly.
the Fiend was supposed to be, probably the top bad guy, but just the way that they approached it, they actually made him probably one of the most over people with the crowd. So it had kind of a reverse effect. So, yep, there's a lot going on with these three guys here, and we'll see what happens. I think that there's really only one that's going to come out on top in the situation, though, and the rest might get kind of lost in the shuffle.
And I think the one coming out on top is going to be that Paul Heyman guy.
I think it has to be, and just hopefully, it doesn't have too negative of effect on the other two guys. Especially just in that personal context. Especially like I said with Braun. We are coming into into September, which is Suicide Awareness and Suicide Prevention Month. So this is something that we can kind of shed some light on maybe in these coming episodes in September. I think that might be something that we will look into. Having it be sort of a topic we tie into every episode because it is coming up this month, and it is an important topic to talk about.
Yes.
And I said with Braun, this is something that kind of came out that he was to that point where he was considering it, and I think at this situation, it's questionable timing, but hopefully he can tough it out. And worst case scenario, man, if it's too much for you to handle, just walk away if need be. Your health and your life is more important. He's probably made enough money to probably live out the rest of his life in peace if he wants. If the fame and then the spotlight and everything is too much for you to handle, if you can't handle losing a title, then maybe you need to walk away. I know that might sound a little rough, but like I said, your health and your life is more important than working for the WWE.
Exactly.
To put it very frankly. I know there's some people that will disagree with me on that. Oh, no. Dude, if it's too much for you, you need to be able to know when to say when. Because everybody has their breaking point. And if you push past that, then you might not be around anymore. Quite frankly.
Right. And that's not what we want at all.
Absolutely, man. All right. So is there anything else that you want to cover this week here, Karl?
Just make sure that everybody knows where they can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TB Talk Pod. As you can see in the ticker down below, we do have merchandise. Check it out. Turnbuckle-talk.myshopify.com. Go there. If there's something that you guys want to see in that merchandise store, let me know. Send us a message to our Facebook at TB Talk Pod and let me know what you would like to see inside of our store that you would want to purchase.
Yep. And of course, make sure and visit our friends over at thechairshot.com, our new home. Make sure and check out everything they have there. And of course, our friends over at NJPW.com. And of course, our own merch too. Make sure and check that out. And we got all kinds of stuff there. And I would imagine, we'll probably end up adding more or substituting some things as the fall comes in. And we got so much kind of going on here, Karl, even just outside of doing this podcast every week, all the partnerships and all that kind of going on. As I had mentioned, the Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling network is still kind of going on. And from what I'm hearing, I'm hoping I'm not jumping the gun here, but I have been talking to Mr. Michael Jargo, and there is a possibility that the flagship show, the Hitting the Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast, will be returning very soon with Jargo and Rick. So looking forward to that if that becomes a thing. Hopefully, Jargo, hopefully I'm not jumping the gun, letting that out there, but he has told me that they're looking at bringing that back, and that would be extremely cool and be a welcome back to the network because, damn, those two guys together are awesome, just like we are.
They're gold.
Yes.
They definitely are. For our partnerships, as Big Joe mentioned, colorandelbowbrand.com. Go and check them out at colorandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code JKPodcast, 10% off your entire purchase. We are in partnership with Phoenix at fnxfit.com. There are supplements over there, whether it's pre-workout, post-workout, super greens, protein powders, all the different things that you need. You want a discount code for that? Get a hold of us on our Facebook page at TB Talk Pod, and I will get you a discount code to get you a pretty big percentage off your entire order. So get a hold of us there. Let us know that you want a promo code for phoenixfit.com, and I will make sure that we get one to you.
Very cool. Like I said, tons of stuff going around here, and hopefully, as always, the wrestling world always gives us stuff to talk about. So looking forward to another episode next week. Like I said, we're creeping up to that 200 episode mark here, Karl, and I know it's still a little ways off, but I want to do something really special for that 200th episode. And if you guys have some ideas, hit up on our social media and let us know what you want for a 200 episode. Do you want the whole HTM podcast network, the whole thing like that, or what do you guys want for a 200th episode? Let us know, and we'll see if we can make some of that happen as well. Or Ryan K. Bowman, Michael Malcorf. We might have like one big whole happy party here, and that could be interesting as well. So we'll see what we can do. All right, man. Well, let's wrap it up for this week, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Have a nice day.
It's me. It's an honor to be the V. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at hittingthemarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all our other shows. You can find that all at hittingthemarks.com.
Run.